Welcome to the Cinefied Podcast, the show where we enlighten you on what film to watch next by discussing the latest projects brought either to the silver screen or to the comfort of your own home via whatever streaming service you're watching. Today, we are discussing I guess you could say, highly anticipated first major horror film of 2026, Primate. Now, if you haven't heard of the movie, the plot synopsis is as follows. A group of friends tropical vacation turns into a terrifying primal tale of horror and survival. And I don't even think that does it justice. So we're going to go to our editor-in-chief's review, and I'm going to pull an excerpt from it here. From the director of 47 Meters Down and Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City comes the year's biggest surprise, Primate. Consider this, a slasher with a chimpanzee as the killer. And while the premise sounds like the making of a cheap B movie with little to no value beyond it, that is not the case here. The horror is tense from the jump. I am joined today by Connor and another one of our writers, Joe. All of us are no strangers to this podcast. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Yeah, this is fun. Looking forward to having some ape conversation here.
Going ape. No, we stop.
I forgot bananas.
To mention, going bananas. That's it's got to be the name of the episode. No, I forgot to mention my name is Dempsey, but today I'm going to be using a pseudonym, Jim Pansy, just for this particular podcast. You guys can figure it out. Now I saw the trailer a few months ago. This premiered. You can correct me if I'm wrong, though, Connor. At what, Fantastic Fest or Fantasia over the summer?
Fantastic Fest in Austin, in September.
In September, late summer, and this was like buzz right out the gate, right?
Yes, yeah. I believe I might be wrong about this fact. I think it was a secret screening, which Fantastic Fest does like 4 or 5 of them every year. So people went in, and when it was announced, they have people come out and say, "Hey, your movie is this blah blah blah. It's Primate," and everybody was like, What is that? Because it was 5 months out. So everybody, I think, going in with no expectations, I think, and just kind of getting the premise from the director himself, I think people were blown away by how good it was considering the premise. So
I could not agree more. And I'm glad that they didn't really lead with like honestly, until I read your review, I didn't know it was from the same guy who did 47 Meters Down or the last Resident Evil movie, because both of those movies are not good. So if you told me that that director has a new movie, I probably would not watch it. But the fact that I went off sole buzz that I heard about this film, plus the trailer, which it gives away a lot, but it's still very enjoyable. It gives a good sense of what the movie's about. And I don't know about you guys, but I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Well, I know Connor enjoyed it. Joe, did you like this movie?
Yes, I did. It is. It's lots of fun. It doesn't do anything to reinvent the genre, but it plays with all of the genre tropes. It's fast paced. There's plenty of gore, and it's skewed for a younger audience. And I think as a result of that, it really makes things scarier, makes things louder, makes things meaner. So yeah, I enjoyed the movie.
Okay, yeah. So you traditionally, when there's a little bit more of us, if you're new to this podcast, you may not know, we do like a roundtable of reviews. I want to not do that today because I know for the most part that we all liked it. So that generally speaking, that we're all full popcorn for this movie. Instead, I want to dive right into it and talk about why the hell this movie works. Because to me, this is like such a brilliant premise. Like we've seen Planet of the Apes, where the apes are smarter than us and they start to rule society. But I'm surprised no one's ever thought to be like, hey, what if the ape was the killer? And that's, I mean, anybody correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not recall a movie. Especially, we've seen so many movies where animals are kind of like the monster. Jaws, Anaconda, the new Anaconda. One of my favorite movies from like the last few years, Crawl. I don't know if you guys ever saw that with the alligator. Like we've seen this done.
Underrated movie.
Very underrated movie. Yes.
Sam Raimi produced.
Yeah. It's like these movies are done so frequently, but like this one takes it a step further by like saying, okay, we're not only going to have an animal, but we're going to have like one of the smartest animals killing people. And you're going to see the entire evolution of how they got that way. And so this is my first real question for you guys. Joe kind of said this already in his answer, but I still want to hear, like, why do you think this movie worked at reinventing not just horror films, but like reinventing this particular kind of horror film? And Joe, we can start with you.
Sure. Well, Dempsey, really just going with that, about, using a chimp. And it's not just that we're using an animal that's evil by design. Instead, this chimp is faintly sympathetic through most of the movie. It went mad through disease. And that's the catalyst, that brings out the horror. This isn't Cujo. This isn't, Crawl, or Jaws. This isn't, just that simple man versus beast. Instead, the filmmaker Joannes Roberts is taking it to that next extreme. He's playing with our sympathy by using a creature that is close to man and is somewhat intelligent, or as highly intelligent in the animal kingdom, I guess, as animals get, and amping up the horror instead. So again, we get through all of the tropes. It's where is the creature? We're running through a house. It's the whole, all the horror movie needs is a monster in a house and nowhere to run, and that's exactly what we get here in Primate.
Yeah, and Connor, what do you think? Why do you think this movie works so well?
I think it works so well because it is, it's, for me, you got to realize there's multiple factors to why this film works so well for me. Because one, it is a January release, and obviously over the last couple of years, January releases aren't as terrible as they used to be. Like, they aren't just straight up trash, but there's usually one or two things. Like last year, it was notoriously Night Swim, and this film is just, when you go in with low expectations, it just blows out of the water. And I went in with middle expectations because I heard all the hype out of Fantastic Fest, and then I saw the Rotten Tomatoes score as of when the film opened, and I was hyped enough to go see it, but I wasn't sure exactly if maybe that's just festival hype, because that is a thing. People go in with a different expectation, and festivals come out, and they usually, because they see it with filmmakers and people from the movie, they go out of it and they end up liking it more. So I think another factor is that it is a very isolated film. It all takes place in one just house, and there's a brilliant zoom out. That's not even during like the horror, like when the horror starts. It's at the beginning where they're just partying, and then it zooms out and you see the grand scope of where they are, and that no one's going to be there to help them. I think that builds an extra sense of tension that's going to be building as the rabies takes over, and I think another huge factor is that it's mostly practical effects, and I mean the man behind the mask and playing Ben the chimpanzee, and I may flop here and there and say monkey, I mean chimpanzee, so don't flaw me for that. I have a habit of doing that lately, but the chimpanzee, I mean, he's just incredible. I don't know who that actor is. I feel like I heard his name recently in an interview, but I mean, just go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's Miguel Torres Umba is what I have in my notes.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, he's just terrific. I mean, everything about just the embodiment of that creature just makes this movie for me. And of course the gore, but because I mean the opening kill, and I'm running on this, but so I apologize, but the opening kill is if you've seen Terrifier 3, there's like another moment in Terrifier 3 where Victoria, I think's her name, like tears down the guy's face, and it's very much in line for that. I mean, it's gruesome, and it's just surprising in the best way. And I'll leave it there.
I'm glad you brought up the opening kill, because that's exactly where I was going to go. Poor Rob Delaney. All right. I feel like this man has such a hard time finding work as it is. And when he's finally in a movie, he's like literally the first one killed. No, that to me, that's my next question is like, when did you know that this movie was like the real deal? And I'm so glad that this movie starts off in medias res, which for those of you guys who don't know, that means when you start off in the middle of a movie, like the opening of the movie is the middle of the movie, and then the rest of the movie is showing how they got you there. And that's exactly what this opening sequence is. I'm not gonna lie, it throws you off a bit. At first, I was like, oh, so the monkey in the movie must get rabies from this monkey. And then I realized, like, no, they were showing us this is his first kill. This is his first descent into madness. And he does not hold back. When he grabbed that man's wrist and dragged him into the cage, spoiler alert, by the way. Yeah, it was fantastic. It was so good. But even though it was a great way to kick off the movie, I'm not gonna lie, that wasn't the part for me where I was like, "Oh, they're cooking with this movie." That part to me, and once again, I just want to heavily emphasize that we're going to talk heavy spoilers in this movie. So if you have not seen the movie, if you really want to see the movie before you want to hear people talk about it, now's your last time to jump out. Is when the the love interest who I was the whole time I'm like, okay, they're not gonna kill everybody in this movie. And that monkey threw homie off the cliff, and not just enough to see him fall, they show his head hit a rock. I was like, oh no, all right, no one's safe in this movie. When he bit the sister's leg, like this movie, I feel like I saw this movie like 2 days ago. I feel like I'm still riding the high of just how lovely this is. And this might also be me trying to cope with the ending of Stranger Things, which, a lot of people are still upset that not a lot of people died in that one. So maybe I'm just happy that everybody's dying in this one. That's all I'll say. This movie really, really just scratched that itch for me. What about you guys?
I mean, for me, it was the opening kill that I've already kind of explained. It's where he rips off the face. It's like a veterinarian played by Rob Delaney, as Dempsey stated, and I mean, it's him, and then really, forget his name. I apologize to the Academy Award winner, but
Troy Kotzer, I think,
and he. Him and Rob Delaney are the two recognizable faces. I don't know any of these other actors. I know the lead was in Dexter New Blood, but I don't remember her in it. But that wasn't one of my favorite seasons of Dexter. But I thought that him being in it, I was just like, oh, I didn't know he was in it. And then he dies immediately. And I was with my brother, and we kind of looked over at each other, and he was like, oh, he's like, that went hard. So, I mean, we at that point, it's just kind of like, okay, so are they going to like do the same things over and over? Because I mean, a monkey doesn't have like a huge assortment of tricks up its sleeve. I mean, it has kind of like beats. And I will say later in the film, he does almost do the same thing twice with the reaching into someone's mouth and dragging their jaw off. And I was just like, I don't think we need to see it again. But all the rest I thought were really well done. And I mean, I was definitely every time anticipating. I'm like, yeah, there's really no stopping this chimp, because they never really answered if they do have a gun in the house, because I don't think they do. But. Yeah.
Good point. What about you, Joe?
Yeah, and I don't think they needed that either. I really like how the movie, scaled back. My opening comments, I talked about, that all the horror movie needed was just a house, right, and a monster and nowhere to run. But the filmmakers did a great job with, how to handle the ubiquitous of a cell phone, nowadays. So many times in horror movies, the cell phones, it's just, oh, I'm out of range or my battery's dead. Well, you can't do that in the house. You're not out of cell phone range. You're in your house. But just having it that the girls couldn't get to their phones, and how they made that element part of the chase, I thought was a really fresh take on isolation. And trying to get these girls to think on their feet without having to get a phone. And then when the one girl actually does get a phone, she's much more concerned about escape than she is, calling, for help. So I was really appreciative on how they handled that particular trope, especially in a movie where, again, they do kind of fall into a lot of the, the horror tropes. We had the Halloween callback with the closet scene, which was fun. But a lot of the, the disappearing, or you think it's on the one side of the glass and it's not. It's on the same side that that you are. But again,
I also had a bit of semblance with the in Jurassic Park, one of the Jurassic Parks, where the raptor is like looking through. It's like poking its head into the plastic, and
you're right. Yes,
and that's what happened in the closet as well. So it's kind of like a Halloween / Jurassic Park reference. But,
right. Yeah, totally.
Double down. I'm all for it. But you were saying, Joe, sorry for
No,
interrupting.
that was pretty much what I wanted to say.
A big part of me like thinks that this movie works so well because they like it is not it's like first of all the character of Ben is introduced as like a family member, so like this is not a complete monster. This is somebody who they love, who has been transformed into something totally unrecognizable.
Mhm.
And I love the way that the descent into madness is kind of captured. We start off with the dad finds him in the cage with with the bite. And he's like, what the hell's this? Then you see him by the water, and thanks to the opening crawl that explains what the hell rabies is, because I honestly did not know it was fear of water. Did you guys?
No.
Uh, that the camera turns it totally upside down, and he's like bugging out. And then I love how the iPad is, or whatever the tablet is such a cool device in this, because for those of you guys who haven't seen the movie or forget, or just for the sake of this conversation, is Ben's only means of communication is this tablet, where he can express how he's feeling, or kind of pick up on some words. It's never really fully explained, but the way it's used is it's his primary means of communication. And we see him use it when he's normal, and then when he's kind of, I would say, possessed or whatever, when he's ravaged by rabies, he starts to use it for like evil. Like he's what is the one he's like, Lucy dead,
Dead.
Lucy
Yeah.
dead.
Dead.
I was
Dead.
like, what is going on? Like it's just
Where he's like
it's so
pounding it. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like pounding
It's
dead.
but also it's just like the coolest thing about this entire movie, I think, is that it's so grounded in reality. I think the biggest stretch this movie takes is the fact that something like this probably could happen, but I think it would be stopped much sooner, even if somebody was like, if these people were also isolated, because yeah, people make stupid decisions, but I'm sure all those kids had their phones at some point. Somebody could have called 911. I feel like that's just me being the. It's hard for me to take myself fully out of a movie without thinking, okay, this wouldn't really happen. But um, the what I really like about this movie, like being grounded in reality, is like the kills and the way the monkey really was still thinking, even though it was ravaged by rabies. One of my favorite sequences is when the girls that are hiding in the closet, and the Halloween callback, as you guys mentioned, and the girl comes out finally, and she's like relieved, and the camera tilts upward, and you see the monkey never left. He's just hanging up upstairs, and he's watching her. It's just like they forget about they're so caught up. This is how I'm bringing you back to. They're so caught up with escaping that they forget how much this person or this thing that's been in their life is capable of. And I just wanted to ask you guys about that. Like, do you think? I thought the scariest thing going into this movie was the fact that this thing had posable thumbs, which it tries to use sometimes. Trying to open doors and whatnot. But the real threat is that it's not that, even though it is an animal, it's not that different from a human being. This is in essence just like a stronger human, a superhuman, essentially.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if they did fall back on the strength of the chimp just a little too much. I mean, all honesty, I don't know how much stronger a chimpanzee is than a normal human. I know there was the tug of rope scene that happened when the girls were in the pool and trying to drag the chimp in, and then there was the fight with the spade. How much did the rabies boost its adrenaline and give him that strength boost that he needed. And is that something that would actually happen when in reality? But no, it falls back to that. It's a chimpanzee, but this is the monster. This is the werewolf, this is the xenomorph. That's part of the movie. Just having it be a chimpanzee, where we said in a lot of movies, the apes are, and chimps are the friend. They're the goofy little sidekick that goes along with somebody, and having that become an agent of evil is what makes this movie different.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all my thoughts as well. So I don't, but yeah, I mean, it's just I don't. I do agree that it does seem like. I mean, I don't know the facts about chimpanzees. I mean, we know that gorillas, which are significantly larger, are like super strong. But I mean, they're similar species. But yeah, I mean, I would assume they're stronger than like one person. But yeah, you got a group of women pulling on that rope. I don't know if he could have, not got in that water. But movies. Yeah, and I'll say because I do apologize, Dempsey. I have lost track of what the initial question was. What was the initial question you were asking?
Oh no, it's just I wanted to just have like a discussion about like why I think this movie works. It's so grounded in reality.
Yeah.
Which I think we cannot say that about every horror movie, right?
I totally felt Ben's passion when he busted the TV for Dora the Explorer. I was like, get her off the screen.
What's so funny about that too? When I saw that, I was like, I wonder what you saw this at the festival. So Dora the Explorer was already in the movie?
No, I didn't. I didn't go to Fantastic Fest in person. That was an in-person only screening. I did virtual, so I didn't see it there. I saw it with on this past Thursday.
Oh, I was wondering if Dora the Explorer was always in the movie because this movie is purchased by Paramount, who owns Dora the Explorer. So I'm wondering if that just happened to be a nice coincidence.
I don't think it was purchased by Paramount. I think it was always financed by Paramount.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, because I'm pretty positive that when it was announced to be the early screening, it already had a release date by Paramount in January.
Ah, interesting. All right. See, we're always learning things in this podcast. But I will say it's one of Paramount's best movies of the year so far. It's that time of the year. Every movie is the best movie coming out
this year from Paramount, to be honest. So.
No, but that was my question. My question was, if this movie works so well because it's grounded in reality, and I think it was so cool to me to see and I just feel like I'm just fangirling over the concept because it is really something that we don't really see. Like I mentioned all the other movies like Jaws. Yeah, a shark will eat somebody, can bite somebody, but like is a shark gonna become so enraged that it's gonna seek revenge out on the open seas against these three fishermen? Like this movie's feels like something that can totally happen, and that leads me to one of my final questions here. Everybody in Hollywood wants to make money, but this movie kind of has like a finite ending for this character. Do you think Primate is franchisable?
I think that's I do want to answer your question, but I do have one more thing to add to the grounded part of your last.
Yeah, go for it.
Part, and I do think that similar the closest thing we've seen to something like this is from a film from several years ago, which people bring up, which is Nope, which had an opening with a chimpanzee that was starring in a TV show go incredibly crazy and kill all of its castmates except for one woman who unfortunately dies by an alien later in the film. But that was pretty much my extent going into it, was like, oh, that scene Jordan Peele did was brutal, and we didn't see all of what it was capable of in that opening scene. So this is like a feature-length version of what Jordan Peele put into that opening. And so that's what I went into this kind of expecting. And it was basically, except, this is not a movie star. This is just a normal pet, or I don't know if we want to call it pet, but, family member of this Hawaiian family. And also, just real quick, did they establish before one of the characters says, I think Troy's father character like text being like, rabies aren't, or maybe the girls do. Like
rabies aren't in Hawaii.
Did they establish
that.
It was Hawaii like ahead of time? Did the airport say Hawaii?
Yes.
I thought they were
when they flew in
for some reason.
No, it was Hawaii. They flew into Oahu.
But I think the movie was filmed in Australia. I think you're both right. Like, if I'm not mistaken, in the credits, it says something about the movie being like a New Zealand or something like that.
No, it definitely takes place in Hawaii.
But yeah, the setting of the movie is Hawaii.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
That makes sense. Yeah, and yeah. I mean, it was a beautiful landscape when they panned out. But
gorgeous. And that house. Oh, my Lord.
But yeah, I mean, that's an insane house. Yeah. But the matter of it being marketable for a franchise, I don't see it being that way. I think that, I mean, even successful creature features are very hit or miss if they do get a sequel. And we're out of the age of straight to DVD. Like, we have streamers, but usually streamers don't do sequels to movies like too often. Like, they don't buy the rights to make. So I just don't like, we won't see an Anaconda 2, type style, like the old Anaconda, not this remake of Paul Rudd. And they've been fiddling around with the, Crawl 2 for years now, since the first one came out. That's never come about. So I don't think this really has a means to go forward. I think it's doing okay on opening weekend. I think it's going to make its money back. I'm pretty confident in that in its run, but I don't think it's going to do so much or have such a successful run that they're going to be like, oh, we need to somehow bring back Ben. Because, I don't think Zombie Ben is the answer. But
don't give them ideas.
Yeah, Ghost Ben if we go with one of the I Know What You Did Last Summer sequels. But I think it's best just leave it standalone.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think this really does work better as a standalone. Perhaps the only way that they could do a sequel is if they do bring back, the family. So you have, Lucy and Adam and the other sister, and it's another rabies something. They're at their house and there's more critters out there with rabies. There's more of those mongooses, and there's whatever else, flora and fauna that might be out in Hawaii that wants to attack them for whatever reason.
It's just the only reason I asked the question. Sorry, what were you going to say, Connor?
I was saying I think that would work better if it was like a zoo versus just being one enclosure. But yeah. But
no, that's what I was going to say. I was like, because like you already said this, Connor. It's a chimpanzee. But the movie's called Primate, and I feel like there's like that sinister kind of like what if already in the background. Studios I said the studios want to make money. I could see like primates, or like at the zoo. And maybe it doesn't always have to be a chimpanzee. It could be like a gorilla or something. I don't know. Like I just think I just in the back of my head with horror movies, you just like
crossover with Monkey Man, right?
They're cooking or Megan. No, they're cooking something. I think they're cooking something at Paramount. I don't know. But whoever wrote this is definitely smoking something too, because this movie's insane.
It's the same. It's the director. It's Johan Roberts. Yeah.
he also, all right. I want to dig into this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
This guy. He is the writer and director for 47 Meters Down and Resident Evil, Raccoon City, and 47 Meters Down Uncaged. Excuse me. And 47 Meters Down the Wreck. He wrote. That's another one coming out.
Did he write that, or is it just characters / like title?
It says he's the writer and producer of it. It's coming out.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that one.
Yeah.
That one caught me off guard. But I've seen
all of them.
No, I haven't seen Welcome to Raccoon City. I've seen parts of it, but I haven't given it its fair share, so I'm not going to say anything about that. But I will say about 47 Meters Down, I thought it was an okay one-time watch. It has no redeeming factors to watch again. And then I think the sequel is garbage. I watched the sequel, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And so that's our one swear, I guess, of the episode, because we're trying to reduce swears. So sorry about that, guys. But I mean, I feel like this, not to say the 47 Meters Down films are poorly directed. I mean, they're perfectly fine as far as direction, but the writing is the issue, in my opinion. And I think that this film, it's like, I don't know if he had a partner, I guess, on this film. So that could have helped. He had a writing partner. But definitely the writing felt better here as far as his characters. And I've heard a lot of people saying these characters are nothing characters, they're terrible people, like so far. I'm like, I got a lot out of these characters. Like I thought the performances were really good, but maybe you guys feel differently about the characters themselves, but maybe they were just, there to be killed. But
yeah, I didn't think there was a lot of characterization outside of Lucy and her father. I thought the boys were really, cliche, stoner party boys. You did get maybe a little bit characterization into some of the other friends, but it didn't go all that deep with anybody. And in all honesty, I don't know if this movie needed that characterization. We talked about how the movie started off. You had that initial horror from jump. And then when you do go back and you catch up with the characters as they're getting into Hawaii and meeting up with their father and they're reuniting with Ben, all of that goes by extremely fast. They are home. They're getting situated, and Ben gets bit, and from there, that pace, doesn't let up. So there really isn't the need, for characterization. But when you do have an Oscar winner, like Troy Kutzer, I really appreciated how his deafness wasn't a gimmick. Instead, it really seemed to be organic and natural to the story. And there was that one beautiful scene where it's more or less from his POV when he gets into the house, and as he closes the door, the audio shuts off, and you just are seeing visually what he is seeing visually, oblivious to the carnage that's happening behind him. I thought that was a beautifully made scene.
That scene was awesome. Yeah.
If there was one con in this movie, I will say I would have liked to see a little bit more of that. We see it when he's at the book signing or whatever. It's kind of cool. That's them establishing that, okay, this is life through his perspective. But I wanted to see more of and I know probably wouldn't have been as good a movie if he got killed or whatever, but more of how he's kind of walking around and not completely aware of what's happening, and just playing that off the audience to see okay, he's in danger, but he's also oblivious, and somebody he loves is being hurt in the other. I really wanted them to play that up just a little bit more. But I do agree with you. I feel like he's a really strong part of this movie. And when I saw that he was going to be a part of this movie, and I saw that it was about a monkey, I was like, okay, they're just gonna. I think that's, as you said, it's probably going to be some sort of gimmick. But the fact that it actually makes sense with the plot, the movie gets bonus points for me. But I want to disagree with you guys about the characterization. The movie does not need 3-dimensional characters. Nor does it feel like it has some fully fleshed out characters. But I feel like the one person in this movie that I feel like stole the show, that I enjoyed watching them and seeing them, was the frenemy Hannah. I think the actress's name was Jessica Alexander. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
The one that got her hair pulled, right?
Yeah, the brunette.
The one that got her. Yeah. She came in and she she was the other girl's friend, but you didn't really know how she was with the other girl, and then she was making out with her boyfriend and stuff her love interest. I really liked her, and I was originally oh, she's gonna be the first. When she went down in the water, I was like, she's gonna be the first one gone. But she actually kind of rubbed off on me, and going back to how I love how this movie's grounded in reality. What she does in the movie is probably the most realistic thing out of anything else, because she goes in to get her phone and she's like, wait, no, screw this, I'm gonna leave. That's what I would do in that situation. I'd be like, call for help. No, I'm gonna drive for help. And then she gets the most brutalist death out of everybody. I thought that she really killed it. I did some research. She actually is in The Little Mermaid. She plays Ursula in human form in The Little Mermaid for that brief bit of screen time.
Oh, really?
In the movie. Yeah, the live action one. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I saw that movie twice in theaters, but I couldn't tell you a lot about it.
No. No comment. No, I'm kidding. I really just want to say, I really enjoyed her character, and I felt like it sometimes actually upstaged the main girl a little bit. But that was just my opinion, and I don't know what else to say. If there's anything else to say about the characters, is there anything else that you guys want to say about this film? I feel bad because we're running on the short side, but then again, this is a 90-minute movie. It's one of the first releases of the year, and it's kind of a two-dimensional horror film. It's an animal that kills people, people trying to survive, and you literally, if you watch the trailer, you're going to get exactly what it promises. You get what you pay for, and I think your enjoyment of it truly just depends on whether you or not you like slashers. What do you guys think?
No, I mean, I mean, if you like creature features, if you like slashers, I think this is going to be totally up your alley. I think that with films over the last couple of years, especially starting with like the popularization of like Terrifier, we've gotten a lot more comfortable with like brutality as far as gore goes. And so I like I mentioned earlier, the kill at the beginning reminded me a lot of a kill in Terrifier 3 with the face rip. So I think that it's just a fun film. I mean, obviously some people are not going to find this fun at all. I mean, I don't like to bring other critics in here, but I've never met them. But the Grace Randolph is going around online about how they walked out of the theater. And I gave it a negative review based on walking out of the theater without watching the full movie, which is bull. But that's all I'll say. I mean, I'm nothing against them because I don't know enough about them. But as far as that goes, that's ridiculous. So moving on. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah. Primate is pure creature feature schlock. But the movie proudly revels in that fact. So yes, this movie was catered towards a certain audience, an audience that enjoys horror movies. Again, probably even a younger audience, and it delivers. It delivers exactly for that. If you are going to a horror movie called Primate about a chimpanzee that has rabies, you are not going to go see Coda, or you're not going to go see Lawrence of Arabia. You are going for a B-level creature movie, horror movie, and Primate is absolutely wonderfully, beautifully that movie.
Yeah, and I will just say one last thing. I agree with what both of you guys say about this movie. Once again, I think we are all on the same page about how much we love this. Whether or not this does become a franchise, I think we can all agree. I think Ben has become somewhat of a soft horror icon. He's terrifying enough and enjoyable enough to watch that I can see maybe he's a Halloween costume this year. I don't know. We'll have to see. And it's doable because, as you guys pointed out, the guy in the costume in this movie does such a phenomenal job. Such a phenomenal job. Like, where I was like, "Are you sure that's not a monkey?" Like, going to the stranger next to me and be like, "Are you, sir? Do you know if this is a monkey or not?" And they're like, "Shh, I'm trying to watch the movie." But that's all I had to say about this movie. I really enjoyed it. I guess now we can. I mean, do we even have to go around the room? Raise your hand if you still like the movie.
I think we are all banana down.
Yeah, I think we've all kind of solidified that we're all full popcorn still. But I am curious. I have one question for you guys. We kind of went over like kind of favorite kill because that's kind of what you said, Dempsey, about like what really established like what's the first. But I guess that's not really. Was there any kills throughout this that like you were like actually like, oh shit, like, or like it stuck with you? Like, because I would say like I felt kind of mixed about the kid falling off the cliff. I thought it was impactful, but I did think that it felt kind of weird how we like followed him on the fall.
That was actually probably my favorite kill.
Was it? I'm sure there's gonna be splits about that, but
we talked about earlier about the direction this movie is going, and thinking like, wow, we really are going there. And I think following the kid down as he plummets 80 feet, or however far it was, off a cliff and lands head first onto a rock, it definitely sets the tone of where this movie is going.
So yeah, for me, my favorite kill was actually one of the least like gruesomely shown kills, I guess, and that was the sister of the brother that fell, like getting hit of like by the rock, because you're like, of course she's gonna die, but it's just like the gruesomeness of like the rock going down, and you see kind of like gruesome. A quick shot of like her like face kind of being collapsed in on itself, but then they don't come back to it, and then when like she runs by the body, like you kind of get a like an overview of it, but it's like not close up, like, oh, this is what happened to her face. I thought that kill was very impactful for me. Like I thought the car one, I feel like they did a lot of like, I still don't know exactly. I understand like maybe she got torn apart based on how much he was doing that, or like he was like ripping.
Didn't he bite into her too? Like
yeah,
I feel like
I thought it was tearing and biting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they do like a really it was probably my favorite kill, but it's not the one that's like the clearest because it's in the dark one, and then he does it in the back seat, and it's kind of done very quickly. But yeah, it's so funny. I loved both of those kills as well. But I think I was more shocked by the guy going over the cliff because, as I said, that was like if seeing somebody's skin get ripped off their face wasn't enough to be like, holy crap. That was, and the fact that he's that character in particular is built up to be like the love interest that you're like, oh, he's definitely going to make it to the end, and he does make it to the end, but not in the way that you think. He's thrown over the end of the damn island. And also in hindsight, I'm thinking the director totally knew what he was doing because like a few minutes before all this stuff unfolds, doesn't that guy throw the toy over the ledge too?
Right.
And that's how we know that it's kind of deep on the other side. And for him to meet the same fate is actually pretty funny.
But yeah, Connor, the death of the best friend, there's definitely the emotional weight on that as well. You know, that Lucy is essentially seeing it happen, and she is completely powerless, you know, to stop anything. So yeah, for emotional weight goes, that was a hell of a kill.
But I think that's really all. Well, I guess this one's the quick question because I was kind of, I guess, not confused, but I was a little bit like, whoa, when I looked at the the budget of this film, I thought it was probably going to be like $10 million max. It's a $25 million film. Does that seem high to you guys, or does that, like, I don't know, maybe it cost a lot to shoot on that location, but it just felt like a lot for how secluded it is. Because like Terrifier is like, especially the last one, I mean, it doesn't have quite as majestic of a production value. You know, you don't have an island, you know, you have gross locations for Terrifier 3. But I mean, it just feels like that film was made for $2 million, I think the most recent one. And you know, and it made $100 million. Like this one, does it like show 25 million on the screen?
I think a part of it could be location, because even though it doesn't look like it cost that much, they in a fancy ass house, so you can't help but wonder like how much that might have played into it, and also I feel like having an Oscar winner in your movie can't be that cheap either. Like I'm pretty sure Troy's, he's nice. He seems like a nice guy, but I don't think he's gonna do your movie for cheap. This definitely, I mean, I'm not a studio head, so I don't really know, but I imagine those kind of factors went in. And also, I don't know if, I know that obviously we spoke about the practical effects being used and somebody being in a mask, but there's definitely some CGI and maybe some kind of, maybe smoothing to make it look seamless between whenever the guy was in the costume or whenever he wasn't.
Yeah, there had to have been some sort of like Rocket Raccoon type or Gollum.
Yeah, there's definitely some sequences where it's not the guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, once again, I don't know how much that costs. But that is an interesting point, though. But I'm assuming by now I don't know if it's broken even, but it's definitely definitely made a lot of money this weekend. It wasn't number one because
box office is Avatar, of course, is number one. But I mean, let's look real quick. As of Sunday, it is currently. Let's see.
I made about half of it back. 13.4 million is what I see here.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad, but it's also, I don't know. So they've been marketing it pretty hard. So I feel like they have to make at least 50 million I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Well, so I guess the question of if it's even franchisable is mute at this point. But no, I unless you guys have something else you want to say, I think this is a good place to leave it. I really enjoyed this movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this conversation with you guys. And I don't know what else is coming out. It doesn't look like a great year for movies, but regardless, I think this is one hell of a way to kick it off.
I think we have some movies to look forward to. I've looked at the slate. I think there's some good franchise films. There's not a lot of films that are original coming out, but you can say that with any year, really. And then all of a sudden, there's a couple, originals that stand out. Last year you have Sinners standing out, and I mean, One Battle After Another is not purely original, but still. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm excited for Scream 7. I understand some people are not because, the situation that occurred, which I understand. But as far as Paramount goes, I think that's going to be their surefire hit. I mean, Scream's never flopped. So I think that's the next horror movie I will be checking out.
I'm looking forward to Sam Raimi's new movie at the end of the month, Send Help.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be I think that the marketing for that's been weird, but I think that's going to be a banger.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And then there's a crime action movie that's coming out in February that I'm looking forward to with.
Is it just Crime 101?
Yeah, Crime 101 with Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
I don't
know a lot about that one.
The director of that movie did this movie a few years ago called American Animals. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it.
No.
American Animals. Is that the one with the guy from American Horror Story?
Evan Peters, yes. Yeah, Evan Peters and Barry Keoghan. And basically, it's like it's weird because it's based on a true story, and it's kind of told like a documentary, but it's
that was a film financed by MoviePass because MoviePass.
Yes, that was MoviePass
and
Gotti. I got invited to the New York premiere of American Animals, and I saw the director and all the actors talking about the movie, and I was like, well, this looks like, MoviePass is throwing so much money into this, but it was actually a really good movie. Okay. That's the crazy part. Highly recommended if you want to get a sense for what the director is capable of.
Okay.
And like I said, it's based on a true story.
The American Animals or Crime 101?
American Animals. He's the director of both.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Crime 101 is based off of a novella by Don Winslow, who's one of my favorite authors. So,
yeah, I'm always just Chris Hemsworth is hit or miss for me. So
he can be, but it's also it's like Mark Ruffalo, it's Halle Berry.
I know,
also hit or miss.
Somebody else in it.
All right. Well, all right. I think that's a good place to put a pin in it. So without further ado, I want to say thank you all for listening to the Cinefied Podcast. You can find more of our episodes as well as all of our written reviews on cinefied.com, including our reviews of Primate and so many other great films that have already come out and will be coming out later this year. You can follow us on Letterboxd as well as all major social media platforms as well to stay up to date with all of our content. Now, pop some popcorn, grab a drink, and remember to stay cinefied. Take care.